Welcome to Power Lunch Live. I'm Rhett Power, your host. It's good to be with you here on Tuesday morning, afternoon, wherever you are. Hopefully you're having a good day, staying safe and healthy. The point of Power Lunch Live is to have today's thought leaders, best-selling authors, CEOs, people who are doing amazing work, who are having incredible success that we can learn from on the show. The program is interactive, so if you have a question for the guest, please do get on LinkedIn Live, get on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all those places that we broadcast, and ask your question. We do monitor those channels while we're live. So if you have a question, please do ask. Now, if you like the program, give it a like or share so that your network can benefit from these guests and from their wisdom and what we're talking about today. Please do share the program. Now, today we're going to talk about a success story that I think is really remarkable and illustrates how you can take a change in environment like the pandemic, like the social unrest that we're having right now, and pivot your business and find opportunity in when things look bleak. And so today we're going to have a sort of a pivot success story. I've got Brian Goodell. Brian is the founder of BibBoards. And 4 years, he brings expertise in e-commerce, promotional products, and now PPE, medical supplies. He's passionate about inventing new products. We're going to talk about that today. Brian, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So we were talking about this, and you kind of watched when the pandemic hit, the Shopify numbers just go down, down in the tank, and you had to let people. You started furloughing and sending people home. What sort of got you to the point where you were thinking, how can I pivot? How can I make a change and capitalize on this and save the business? Really, that's what this was. So what was in your head, and how did you come to where you are now, where you're like struggling with keeping up with business?
Yeah, good question, right? So in the beginning of the year, the endurance space. So whether it's a small run or Run Disney or Rock and Roll Marathon, there was so many races going on, and we were partnering with those races, including like some brands that you might know, like a Brooks running shoe or a Lululemon, and things were going really well, and we were ecstatic.
So explain what the products were.
Yeah, so BibBoards is an event bib fastener that secures your bib to your race garment without puncturing or putting any holes in it, and you can actually customize them. People like to express themselves, but it does not put any holes in your garment. We have a patent on it. It's not a magnet, and magnets will demagnetize your timing chip. So BibBoards was the event bib fastener. And I think what was being embraced is the fact that it was less invasive to your garment, and it's recyclable. That whole community is all about recyclable materials and sustainability. So
if I was in a running race, it attached the number to my shirt, that kind of thing.
That's correct. Yeah. So Instead of showing up at, I'll give you, so like Run Disney would hand them out. Instead of handing you safety pins, you get BibBoards with Mickey on them and Run Disney. So it was going really well. And COVID hit, and at the point COVID hit, we were up roughly about 300%. And the Shopify numbers were just really exciting. And we were adding races and adding brands every day. So it was fun. Our goal was to eliminate safety pins completely from during sports space. And we were doing so. Then it hit, and all crowds, no crowds could gather. So it means no races could take place. So, I was figuring out what we're going to do. And I had to let people off. So they went and worked at, Amazon. And so, we were on pause for a while without really any direction. Mm-hmm. But what happened, I started looking for other things to keep us alive, and everything pointed towards PPE. So I started looking on social media, and I said, I'm an inventor. My business partner's a patent attorney. I started looking on Instagram and Twitter and found there was some people using our product as a mask snap and hook. So they would put it up here on their head garment, their hat, and they would hook the product around their hat. And the gentleman's name was Eric. And he was saying he had sore ears. So his wife started sewing buttons for a hospital and sold 100. And so he reached out and said, my wife can't sew anymore. Her hands are done. And I'm not going to allow her to. And I said, wow, that's interesting. Come to find out that it's a real problem. Sore ears it's whether you're a doctor or a veterinarian, a dentist, or just a frontliner or warehouse worker, you were suffering from 4 years. So we pivoted April 10th.
And was that, so I want to show this. So this is, you guys sent me a few branded with Power Lunch Live. I do appreciate that. That was awesome.
Oh,
and
welcome.
So you attach them to something that's cloth or hat or something up here, right? And you
Correct.
Put the mask on, and they hook on this, not around your ears. So that's the whole concept, right?
That is correct. So whether you wear a bouffant, you wear a headband, you snap those on to your head garment, and then you hook those there to alleviate the sore ears. They become, we've had maybe 2,000 reviews, and people just say, I've got sore ears, thanks, alleviates this. I'm not worried about going to work and putting on my mask because my ears hurt. And so we're repairing ears.
Well, they actually work. I tried them on a ball cap that had a mesh thing, and it worked on my baseball cap too. So it's very good. So talk about. So was this a rebranding exercise, really? You think, or was it? What? How did you sort of come up then and say, okay, we've got to rebrand? Because that's what that is. You just had to completely rebrand it.
Yeah, you know what it was? It was same patented technology, different application with a rebrand. So
how did you launch it? How did you get the word out?
Yeah, what we did was, as soon as I started seeing the social proof that people were using this, and we had to come up with a name. And on April 8th, we came up with the name. I had built out a page. 2 days later, on April 10th, we just onboarded a guy, Ed Zuckerberg, a guy I used to work with. His son's in social media, and we started taking a little bit of chunk and testing some ads, and I created some really cool, we call viral videos, and we put a little chunk behind it. Honestly, it was $100, and the return was really small. I just want to see what would happen. And then we had roughly about 142 shares in an hour, and then it went crazy. So our latest videos that we've had, those are actually same ones. The latest numbers we've had is we're probably trending around 10 million views with all of our videos, and thousands and thousands and thousands of shares, which shares are very important.
Right. And where do people get the product now? Is it where are you selling it, and how do people get it? And is it a B2B strategy or a B2 consumer strategy, or how did you market it? How did you go get it into the people's hands?
Yeah, it's actually both. So we work with this whole promotional world. They bring brands to us. Like we recently did Boeing Airlines, Lakers and Mavericks and Spurs, that's kind of the B2B. We did Kaiser and Cedars-Sinai Hospital direct, but we also went direct to the end consumer through our online social platform. Plus we have, over 50,000 loyal customers through our BibBoards world, which come to find out, a lot of people who are in endurance tend to be in medical world a lot, doctors and nurses. And, so that kind of was an organic move. And so they started sharing, hey, this company started out as a bib fastener. We're not profiting off a pandemic. We're actually helping these frontliners with the 4 years and saving their ears. So yeah, so both. We started pushing towards our consumers, email campaigns to people who believed in us, who bought from us, who trusted us, who's given us over a 4.5 to a 5-star review. And yeah, so both ways.
Hey, what's your lesson? This was a brilliant move, obviously. And what do you think the lesson in this is for other entrepreneurs? What you've done here?
I think the lesson would be, as much as I want to take credit for this, I can't necessarily take all the credit. I think what I was doing is just listening. I always like to reverse engineer stuff. Listen to what the crowd wants. A lot of people come and build and invent something from a personal need, but a lot of times great ideas come from other people's needs. And if you can listen to what the crowd say, and we started, I would just keep your ears open and search and look for what people want, and then kind of fit yourself within what they want. It happened to be our product that people were talking about. I mean, with hashtags now and searchable, you can find out what's really trending. And I think watching the trends will really help. So being open to other people's concepts and ideas.
Okay. And so talk about a little bit where that has sort of changed your thinking. We were talking before we came on that this is going to lead to some other sort of new product and things. How has this sort of shifted your business now, you think, sort of forever?
Yeah, right. We will always be a bib fastener. We believe in that.
Sure.
That's a whole world. Now
those events will come back, so you'll do that again.
We'll do that again, and that's it's interesting because now we're into the PPE business, and now we have IP and protecting us. And now that I became really well rehearsed on what's going on in PPE, what the masses are doing, which I'm not going to do. I'm going to do exactly the opposite of what they do. We're not going to sell masks, and I'm not going to get into hand sanitizer and things of that nature. So we're in PPE now. We are a PPE brand, and we are going to expand that. So I have some other concepts that are going to come out too, and we're going to roll out multiple solutions, and we're going to take it and put it alongside that same funnel. So plug and play is really what we're doing. So yeah, we're in PPE, and I see a bright future.
Well, I mean, what's really cool about this is like, every major corporation is going to come back, right? And what a great little thing to give to everybody, a branded, thing that you can wear. I think that's kind of cool. And it seems like from a promotional standpoint, from promotional products, this is perfect too. It's just a great new promotional product because people are going to be wearing masks for a while.
You know what? We had, and I'll tell you, my hair was on fire. We had over 1,000 inbound leads from promotional companies in the first 30 days. Matter of fact, I didn't even send out an outbound email. From pharmaceutical companies to the Johnson & Johnsons, it was really exciting. So promotional world we actually signed a deal I can talk about now on Friday with a company who's a major player in the game. It's called iClick. And iClick is a supplier to the promotional world. And their most successful, one of their products has been pop sockets.
Yep.
And they did extremely well with pop sockets inside the space. So that just happened on Friday. And so we're really excited about that relationship. They're experts at what they do. And, I look forward to seeing what they do with the promotional world.
Fantastic. What is, what you talked about protecting your IP I coming from the toy business, we always struggled with IP and patents and this whole thing. How are you protecting your IP sort of in the age of social media? Because I think it presents a unique challenge more so than ever. So what is your strategy there?
I think we have an advantage, Rhett, and it's with our my business partner is a patent attorney by day. That's the cape that he wears. He actually happens to be an avid marathoner and runner. Okay. So that was with what we do with him. He doesn't wear that hat for our company. He just happens to have that background. So he's our CFO. We trademarks and we can file immediately. We take the proper steps with the patent office and government. But doing it in a timely fashion. The research tools are also available for anybody who wants to get protected on something that they come up with. You can go to uspto.gov, it's public information, and go research your product. But yeah, I think what we do is I give it to Robin. He just he files so quickly, so smoothly. We get what we call wholesale rates on legal for patents, but that helps too.
Absolutely. Big time.
One thing I would recommend, you can find out what's out there with simple Google searches, Bing searches, Yahoo searches, what's available. Now, Jane Doe in Wisconsin, is she going to possibly steal it? I doubt it. That answers your question.
Yeah, no, I never really worried about people stealing. My feeling was always I needed to be first to market, and then, do that, go through that, So you talked about that pivot, and you talked about understanding what your clients needed. Let's talk about e-commerce a little bit, because you guys do that really well. Talk about the sort of the important parts, because I know a lot of companies are trying to pivot to e-commerce right now more than ever, as a strategy, and a lot of people have ignored it for a long time or haven't done it very well, and they're now trying to figure out. Do you have any advice for companies on the e-commerce side?
About
particularly companies like your small and medium enterprises that are trying to expand to e-commerce and really understand it.
Right. Yeah. I highly recommend it. I built a company back in 2010 called USC. It's the University of Social Shopping and Sharing. And USC was basically to educate companies and brands on the death of retail in 2010. So 10 years ago, I've been working towards this. I met with the early guys at Alibaba. They flew over here. We had a show called CES, and I was working with early guys at Groupon and Living Social, all these other companies, because I believe that retail was going to die. But kind of the why behind that, and so retail is still here now. It's segmented, but I got my first product into over 33,000 stores. But what we saw was, without huge marketing budgets to drive traffic, consumers into store to grab your product off the shelves, it's possible that you can get in. That's the good news, but it's also the bad news. Now you need a channel sell-through strategy, which could be millions and millions of dollars. And a lot of small to medium-sized businesses don't have a channel sell-through strategy, which says, go buy my product. It's sitting on Target shelf. Buy 10 of them for Christmas. So we got into the stores, but we didn't have any sell-through. So I grew a little calcified to that. So I went to e-commerce immediately. With the tools today, Shopify's just so robust. And there's some of the biggest companies out there using Shopify, the Shopify Plus, but the tools are there. And the people that can build these infrastructures it's not very expensive to build up a really nice looking store. To convert, it gives you all the data and analytics there, which I really appreciate. I'm big on dashboards and data and tools because it tells a story. So yeah, we use Shopify, and it's endless. It can do a lot more than I'm currently doing. So you can start small and grow into it too.
Yeah, it makes sense. And the tools are a lot more cost effective than they used to be. Those kind of tools used to be really expensive, and to build out a good e-commerce site, when we were trying to do it, it was hard. It was hard to make it look good, and it was hard to sort of fit it into what our site looked like. It was not easy, but I think it's really so much more easier today. How do you get the right advice and the right, how do you know that you're getting the right advice when you're working? Like, you bring somebody on, you bring marketing firms on, you bring, people to help you do these things. How do you do that really effectively? What questions do you ask,
That's a great question, Rhett. And I always wonder, because you can go through a lot of marketing companies, and we live in a day and age today that everybody's an expert. I'll be honest. Gary Vaynerchuk, everybody wants to be the next Gary. And I get it. You gotta sift through what's good and what's not. And, being a good listener, going back to what I said early, a lot of those people also have to sell what they do. So, if they're overselling and they're selling a used car and they've done all this stuff, we have a firm that we use, but we also have an advisor on our team who knows the social platforms really well, and Ed. And I went through, I'll be honest, I went through someone that was an expert from Nike. I went through an expert from LinkedIn. I went through an expert from another, I won't say the other company, but a big company. And come to find out, the smallest guy is the best. And I can find out based on what I spend and what I return. So at the end of the day, you can actually test a few of them. You know, they all don't like each other, but you're just trying to find the best to help build your business. So I would listen and learn and, you know, ask for dashboards, ask for data. That's one thing that the company I said, can you show me what you're doing? And they pulled up the dashboard and showed me and explained what a return on ad spend was, how they did it, how much money they made their last customer, which it was a big Silicon Valley company. And I said, well, I want you to do exactly what you're doing for them, for me. And so I just watched their site, making sure that it's happening on my site in real time. To be honest,
it sounds like a couple of things. Get somebody on your team that's an advisor that understands the platforms and knows the right questions. Because I think a lot of people know a little bit, but not enough to really make great decisions and maybe ask the right questions. So have somebody on your team that does, and then ask for data. I mean, I guess results. What have your results been for other clients? And maybe even talk to other clients that they've had. Seems like a good process too, if they're willing.
Yeah. You know, if they're open and willing to share some data with you, that's pretty exciting, right? Because then they can say that they've had success, as opposed to, hey, you know, it's proprietary, I can't show you anything. So yeah, I just ask. I think, what's your best ad spend? What's your return? What are you making someone else? What's the best you've seen? What's your best shopper approved reviews? Why is a conversion site better than a beauty site? You know, what's the difference between funnels? If they're an expert, they should know. And I'm okay to ask the hard questions, and it's not because I'm being brass. I just would like to see the numbers. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with asking, show me proof why you're good.
Yeah. And how you're going to get results. Prove to me how you're going to get results.
Yeah. And remember, you're the paying customer, and they're the one that has to perform.
It's a fair question. Show me what you can do. Yeah. Well, this has been fun. One final question, sort of in this sort of post-COVID time, any advice, any thoughts on sort of how you're going forward, how you're moving forward, how to sort of keep your team intact and all that? Any sort of final advice?
Yeah, you know, I think being open, being sound to what's going on around us. I think getting your team to buy into, because I had to let them off and bring them back. You know, I had to tell them, hey, we sold out completely twice. You know, getting them to buy in that your vision is real, and it's not just, you know, I also show them stats. I also show my team data, you know, and ask for input. You know, I think one thing I do today that I might not have done in the past is asking everyone here, what are we doing wrong? How do we get better? What do you think of this product? What do you think of this design? Are you seeing any holes in what we're doing? You know, we're a small team of collectively now 9, 3 advisors. So actually what's good is the advisors aren't shy to tell you what's going wrong, but on a granular level, we're asking, you know, my print team, my production team, and things like that. So be open to criticism, be open to get better. And I just want to get better every day. And I'm okay with criticism to get better.
Well, that's where innovation comes. That's where that's when you listen to your team like that, good things can only happen. I mean, they're only trying to help, and they're, you know, they have a vested interest in making sure things work. So that's good advice.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Brian. This has been fun. I'm you know, it's really great to hear these success stories, you know, when there's so much negative news out there, and there's so much sort of, you know, this business is closing and this business is bankrupt, and it's really good to hear that of stories like this where you were able to make it, you know, turn it around and take the opportunity to sort of make what a bad situation into a good one. And so congrats on that, and I wish you the best of luck in continuing to make new product and figuring it all out, because it's quite a ride. I know exactly what you're going through. So we started. We were in the middle of the financial crisis, and we did the same thing you did, and that's why your story was so attractive, because it's fun to see people who should fail. I mean, our businesses should have just completely collapsed, but we figured out a way through it. And so I think kudos to you for that. So
yeah, thank you too, Rhett. I appreciate you bringing me on Power Lunch Live. It's been a pleasure. It's a very good conversation.
Yeah, same here. And thank you for spending some time with us here on Power Lunch Live. You can look at the upcoming schedule that we have. Tomorrow, we've got a great show, but you can go to the website. I'll entice you to go to the website to check it out. It's powerlunch.live. And we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Stay safe, and have a